Matt Murdock is a man repenting for sins, but will he live long enough to do so? Well, let's hop into the pages of Daredevil issue number 11 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we are treated to a rather harrowing scene where a drugged-up bodybuilder is attempting to murder his girlfriend. Luckily, Daredevil is there to stop him. Not the real Daredevil, mind you, but one of the dozen or so well-meaning citizens of Hell's Kitchen who have taken up the Devil's mantle while Matt is away, and this guy's suit isn't even half bad. It's a halfway decent cosplay. Now, where is the real Daredevil right now? Well, he's getting his bell rung by Elektra, longtime enemy and even longer time lover. Elektra used to be one of the people who knew that Matt Murdock and Daredevil were the same person, but then Matt worked his magic mojo with the Purple Children, and now she's back to not knowing about his secret identity. Or at least she was for like 5 whole minutes. During the beating, Elektra says that she hates to see Matt like this right now at his absolute lowest, that Stick didn't train them for this. Stick trained them for greatness. And yet Matt just continually throws himself into the line of fire when he's Daredevil, and even now when he's not Daredevil. Elektra does say that if he wants, she's willing to train him again, to rebuild him. But that's a double-edged sword if there's ever been one. Now elsewhere, we see what's going on with Izzy Luca and the Italian mob of Hell's Kitchen. They're still reeling from the Owl's attack on them in the previous issue, and she's keeping all of her people close by, including her son, who just so happens to be married to Mindy, the bookstore owner that Matt has been having an affair with. Mindy is mad, feeling that the mob is keeping her prisoner right now. Her husband says that it's for her own protection, and in fact, he's mad right now that his mom wants to handle this all diplomatically. He wants to go fight. And wouldn't you just know it, all this stress, all this fighting, and all this negativity is just further pushing her into the arms of Matt, who is trying super hard to push her away, what with the whole, sin thing. And then at the other end of the story, we got poor old Detective Cole North. His partner is dead, the department has forced him to take a new one, and they're making sure he's working long, terrible hours so he can't out any of the other dirty cops for being on the Owl's payroll. And what would tonight's soul-crushing detail be? Well, setting up a series of fake snatch-and-grab purse robberies so that they can try and ensnare hard-working heroes. Spider-Man ends up taking the bait, but this is nothing the old webhead can't deal with. He gives the cops a slip and even ends up taking Cole hostage for a little bit. Spidey plans to let him go, but this does give them an interesting opportunity to talk. Spider-Man says that he is not unsympathetic to where Cole's coming from right now. Yes, he's a superhero. They technically break the law. The cops made an oath to uphold the law, but hey, superheroes like him made an oath too. Also, justice sometimes isn't nearly as black and white as Cole is making it. Heroes are only human, just as cops are only human, but Spider-Man held someone like Daredevil to a high standard when he made a mistake. This speech is great for a number of reasons. My favorite probably has to be when Spider-Man starts getting on the whole kick about how legality can't always be a good guide for morality, because it's basically just an inverse of what Izzy was saying about why the mafia exists. Sure, we do some bad, but we do some good too, and we look out for the neighborhood, we punish our own people when we have to, etc., etc. And speaking of punishment, it would seem that Leland Owlsley is about to be punished by Mayor Kingpin. Yeah, that's right, even though Wilson Fisk is trying his hardest to distance himself from a life of crime, much like Matt can't give up being Daredevil, he can't give this up either. Kingpin says that the Owl is getting greedy, running drugs at Hell's Kitchen when he wasn't supposed to, and breaking the truce that he tried so very hard to broker so he could go off and play politician. He's not going to hurt the Owl, though. He's a changed man, after all. He is going to send him away, though, to think about what he's done. Basically, the supervillain version of a timeout. What truly makes this scene amazing, though, is that the Owl pretty much tells Kingpin to suck it, that he's not in charge anymore, and that if he wants to stay squeaky clean as mayor, he won't cross Owlsley, who could very easily mess up his next gala ball. Man, I think this might actually be the most intimidating and most efficient the Owl has ever been written. Now, as the comic begins to wind down, Matt decides to check on another one of his parolees, the brother of the person who he killed accidentally when this whole run began. He also meets their mother. It's clear Matt still feels very guilty throwing all sorts of money and help and aid and whatever he can at this woman just to alleviate how crappy he feels. However, this exchange has to be put on the back burner when Matt, using his super hearing, gets a call for help. At first, he thinks it's police calling for help, but it's actually the other way around, someone needing help from the cops. The The stand-in Daredevil, to be precise, who's about to get worked over as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Daredevil issue number 11, everybody, and once again, Chip Zdarsky does amazing things, balancing a ton of different storylines and weaving a heck of a tapestry of a narrative. You know, usually in a book this layered, you'll get to a storyline or a particular character where you're like, oh, this guy isn't as interesting as the rest, I don't really want to hear about them right now, but here I want to hear about everybody. I like that characters like Spider-Man stop in every so often and we can see the events of this book through the eyes of someone like him. It offers this really great third-party perspective. I like that Kingpin is basically having his own mirrored journey to Daredevil right now. They both quit what they knew best around the same time, and they're both fighting to try and stay away from it. Overall, I'd give this one another 9 out of 10, a really damn enjoyable comic.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.